So yeah, welcome to African Dream TV, helping you live your African dream. The goal of this channel is to inspire, as many people, in the diaspora as possible to live their African dream. So this channel was created by myself and Nana, the handsome gentleman you see on my screen. So we thought it would be good to, go through our stories of how we kind of have started living our African dream. So Nana is going to take it away by telling us a bit about himself and his background. So Nana, when you're ready, yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joe, for introducing me so kindly. My name is Nana Yao, as you said, and a bit about my background. I was born in the UK to Ghanaian parents. I schooled in Ghana for about 5 to 6 years before returning to the UK and then going to university in America. So so I've studied in all three places. Fast forward now, I don't want to go into too much detail. I worked as an IT consultant for some years and then started my own recruitment company, specializing in IT recruitment. So 3 years into that, I realized that I had become a digital nomad. And with that, I had freedom of living wherever I needed to live and still being able to work. So my wife and I had a chat about things, and we decided to see what things were like in Ghana for about 3 months. And we've moved here. We've been here for about a year and a bit, and so far so good. So that's a bit about my background.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you mentioned that the job that you're doing, you said it was more on the digital side. Can you talk a bit more about your background? Because I think a lot of people has your advantage to be able to have a job where it allows them to be in a certain place and work from there. Most people are in an office, they have to be at a certain location to work. How did you get into that? Can you tell me a bit about what?
I mean, I was in a similar position where I had to be in an office as a contractor. You go to your client site, you're there until it's time to go home, and then you go home. And it was okay, but it got to a point where I realized I wasn't enjoying the commutes in and out of work. I was essentially being paid to physically be somewhere, even though I didn't need to, because in IT, you could travel to, let's say, bank and work for your company, but you're logging onto servers that are located in the Docklands or Slough.
Right.
So in a way, it was a disconnect for me. It's like, I'm traveling into this place to log on to a machine located in Slough that I could log on to from home. And sometimes I'd have to work from home. So I knew it was possible. Long story short, I decided I needed another layer of freedom. So I went from a permanent employee to a contractor, and I decided to step up. And the next step for me was starting my own business. Originally, I considered doing an IT managed service provider. That's IT support for other companies. But it's not something I could have done alone. And a friend of mine I was planning to partner with, for personal reasons, pulled out at the last minute. So I kind of sat there and thought, what business can I start by myself? And it just so happened, as a contractor, I was dealing with recruitment agents very regularly. And I had a pretty poor opinion of the average recruiter. My friends and I always used to say, oh, why do we even give a percentage of our daily rate to recruiters when they're rubbish and we can do it much better? So it was a case of me putting my money where my mouth was, and I started a recruitment company. No, I didn't have any recruitment experience, but I made it niche. So it was specifically IT recruitment. Even there, it was infrastructure, which is what I'd studied and learned and worked in most of my life. So that was the unique selling point that I was going to build on. And I went with it. And
Right.
it's been, 3.5 years now, still going. So.
Right. So have you thought about setting up an IT recruitment company in Ghana?
I
or
have
Africa?
I have considered it, and I actually know for a fact there's a lot of need for that because I have friends and family who have their businesses or are involved in businesses, and I've actually helped people out doing IT consultancy informally here,
Right,
but didn't want to start a full-blown IT business
right,
be- because of my personal life philosophy and my life goals. Um, I'm a big fan of passive income. I'm a big fan of having free time. Um, so I prefer to explore opportunities that allow me to enhance my passive income and allow me to still maintain my free time. You
Mhm.
know, this is an experiment. If that doesn't work, yeah, I may well start an IT consultancy here because
Right.
I'm confident it would do well.
Mhm.
But I'd like to give my other preferences a chance because if
Right,
they work, yeah, why do I need to hassle myself with an IT
right,
consultant?
right.
So,
And for those who are listening out there, that's how I recruitment is. We have that in common because that's how we actually met through recruitment. Yeah, but that's another story we'll get into later.
yeah, you can tell them, you have a recruitment company, I have one, and then we kind
Yeah,
of networked, and then we met and we became friends, and here we are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true because, and then when we met, we learned that we had no prior experience in recruitment. So I literally just basically read a book by James Caan. After being in digital advertising and marketing for years, I just thought, hey, I needed something that gave me more freedom. So just like you did. So, once I started that, I just never looked back, and it's been what, 6 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy. How long have you been
Well,
doing that? The
three and a
recruit
half years. Well, I'm
three and
still
a,
a baby.
three and a
Yeah.
half years.
So,
Well,
yeah, well,
but then now you are living your lifestyle. So
oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, so that's the reason why I didn't want to start a consultancy or an IT support company.
Right. So
There's a bit more to it as well.
go ahead.
I won't go into too much detail, but the other thing is it would be something that I need to do with someone and possibly hire employees. And I don't think I'm ready for that quite yet.
Yeah.
I can go into that in a bit more detail later. But yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes when I tell you about some of the challenges I'm having with my employees, you're like, oh, I don't, I don't wish to be you.
Nope. I mean, it's not that you put me off. I've just seen, being here, I've just seen the things that having employees is challenging.
Right.
So I feel I need to be in a certain position before I be ready to take on
Right.
those challenges.
Okay. But I want to ask you a very important question, which is the why. I want to get into the why because,
Okay.
that's when we really understand the person. What sparked, this idea to pursue the African dream? And obviously the African dream is different for everybody. Some of them,
Yes.
they want, to be laying by a beach, chilling. One person's more maybe being able to, work from a certain location or just start a business. Some people are very, very entrepreneurial, or they want to live in the forest. They want to be in a place where it's more warm. It's warmer, the weather, the food, the lifestyle. So yeah, it would be great to get into your head a little bit about what sparked up that desire to pursue the journey you're on now.
Okay. So the why did I end up
Yeah.
wanting to live in Ghana? Um, well, it started off in stages.
Right.
The initial stage was I started the business, built it up, got a few clients going, started generating money. I was like, okay. And then I realized that yes, I had a bit more freedom. I could control what I did with my time, but I also still had to do with the pressures of living in the UK. Um, you're even I lived in London, and London is not necessarily the cheapest city in the world. And so I realized that, well, if I can do my job from anywhere, do I need to be located in London? And if not, if I were to move somewhere else, I could still have the same income, but lower outgoings. And another thing about me, I'm very interested in investments. So for me, being able to lower my outgoings provides more money for investments.
Mm.
So for me, that was another reason to look at ways to reduce my outgoings. So my wife and I think initially we were actually considering just moving outside of London, maybe, because I had a friend who moved to Cambridge, and him and his family had been there for a while and they were loving it. Another friend of mine had just moved to Dartford. They were loving it. So, you know, outside London was the initial thought. And then I thought, well, maybe let's think a bit bigger. You know, why just move outside London? Because I looked at the logistics. If you move outside London, you're a bit far from your friends and family. Maybe you can't visit them as often. But then I realized whether I'm 2 hours drive from London or an hour from London or a 6 hour flight from London, you probably see your friends and family about the same. A case in point, I had a friend who lived less than, I think, 10 minutes drive from me, but I doubt I managed to see him more than like 5 times a year, if that. So started thinking about it, and then we were thinking, okay, if we're not just limiting it to the UK, let's go somewhere warm. Let's go to the Caribbean. You know, let's tour Asia. Why don't we do the thing where we live in a different country for 3 months and then move on to
Okay.
the next?
Right.
You know, that appealed. But then I thought, well, when you do that as well, there's a certain level of instability, you know, and looking to build a few things. So I kind of needed, the way I was thinking of it is that we can still do the travel, but why don't we have a base, you know, that we can set up, and then from there we can, you know, regularly go and stay for long periods in another place. So then it came to selecting a place. We thought about Barbados,
Right.
somewhere in the Caribbean because it's warm. But then it occurred to me, well, you know, my wife and I are from West Africa. I'm from Ghana. She's from Nigeria. Um, the time difference, UK, Ghana, it's most of the time it's the same. Certain times of the year is an hour difference, so it's doable. And I have family still. I mean, most of my immediate family are in the UK, but I still have cousins, aunties in Ghana. Because I spent some time living in Ghana, I still have classmates from school who are here. So there'd be a ready-made network of sorts that I could call upon and
Right.
capitalize from. And the other thing I realized is the people I knew in Ghana had got to positions where they could be quite helpful in, you know, depending on what you're interested in. They were in positions where they'd be able to give you good advice or maybe connect you with the right person. So a part of it was, well, why not make use of that network as well? Because it's there, you know, it's another resource. So that kind of swung things to Ghana. And that was the main, so to answer your question, I guess in one sentence, the why is because I wanted to try and achieve the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to live, my wife and I wanted to live. And, you know, we wanted to, you know, I guess you could say we wanted to live the dream. But then we realized by living in Ghana or living in Africa, it would be a lot easier. So that's why in my head I was like, well, we're living the African dream. We can move here and have the best of both worlds. And that was the why.
Right. Okay. So pursuing the African dream, pursuing the freedom. Obviously, you have the weather, all the things that comes with the lifestyle. Were
Yeah.
you were
If you
you
want me to.
like, sorry?
So go ahead. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I could list some of the components of the African dream, but I guess we can get to that.
Yeah. So I'll just say, were you what do you become sick of the UK and why?
To be honest, I feel it's a bit harsh for me to say,
Because the
but
reason
yeah,
I'm saying that, listen, there's a lot of Africans that wish to be in the UK. They are right now. They are in a they're seeing a connection, man, or they are the parcel of it trying to get to where you are. You are trying to leave. I mean, what happened? Why? What made you? Were you sick of the UK? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get
In a way, I was sick of the UK because living in the UK, it got to a point where I felt instead of living, you were kind of existing. And to clarify that point, in the UK, there tends to be a lot of pressure. You have bills everywhere, but you've got your bills, you've got the the grind of trying to survive. The things you have to do in order to
to.
to earn money. It's hard to escape that feeling that you're just another cog in the wheel, of the big machine. And the weather, yeah. I like complaining about the weather as much as the next person, but after some time, just like, why? Why am I? So it wasn't exactly I was just sick of the UK, but I looked at what the UK was offering, and I looked at what I could potentially get elsewhere. I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, why am I even struggling here? And to answer the other thing you mentioned, that yes, there are people in Ghana and other countries who would kill to be able to move to the US or the UK. And I get that. And that's part of that is because of the expectations they have, because people who live there, when they come on holidays, they may not tell them the bad things about the UK. All they see is the person has gone to the UK, they've come back, and now they have more money than they used to. And they can do things that maybe the person can't do. And they feel, well, if I could go to the UK too, then I could get that money and I could live that lifestyle. What they don't realize at times is that person's coming on holiday for 2 weeks. They probably saved up all year. They're coming to Ghana. They're having a good time. They're relaxing. Yes, the pound is strong, so things seem cheap to them. But then they go back and they are grinding, waking up at this time, being squashed in a train when people are screaming, "Can you move down, please?" All of that.
Right.
They won't tell you all about, they won't tell you what they do for a living necessarily, the stress that's involved with that, dealing with colleagues who are bullies or intimidating, or, there's a whole aspect that I won't even get on that front. But the lack of freedom in how you exist, the additional things that weigh on your mind when you're in the UK, they
Right.
probably don't mention all of that. So I've had people, I've been in Ubers and spoken to the Uber drivers, and they want to travel. And I say to them, look, I'm not going to tell you don't travel, because for what you want to do, it may well be your best option. But what I want to remind you is, if you go, have a plan. Don't just be like, I want to go there and then land, and then that's it. You're living in Aberystwyth, as they say here.
Right.
No. If you're going there, go for a reason. Maybe you want to raise capital. So go there, give yourself a time, save that capital, and come back and do something in Ghana. I guarantee you, you will be more comfortable in a good business in Ghana than you will be living that 9 to 5 or working that, minimum wage job if you don't have qualifications.
Right.
Your options are limited. So you might very well end up, I know a lot of Ghanaians, they start off with cleaning, maybe some construction, not being judgmental, but typically you end up at the bottom of the food chain in terms of the employment
Right.
segment.
Mm.
If you have a great, anyway. So yes, I did get sick of the UK. I got sick of the things I had to do to get by day to day. I got sick of not being able to do some of the things I wanted to do. I got sick, I like being able to go to the beach in like half an hour,
Yeah.
I like the weather. I
Yeah.
like I like the
Yeah.
food, how fresh, I like the low cost of living. I
Yeah.
like that my money goes further here,
Mm.
the better standard of living. So all those things come together. So it may not be that I'm just sick of the UK, but what the UK has to offer me and what Ghana has to offer me, there's no real comparison.
Yeah. So basically, it's easier to build that African dream.
It
Yeah,
is. It
definitely.
is definitely, definitely.
Yeah. No, I think when you were talking about some of the things that happens on the daily, you just basically, you just wrote a diary of the average person living in the UK, which is like get up, go to work, you get a lunch break that you have to be really quick and come back, you know, and then, you are watching the time most of the time. And, when it's home time, you get back onto the bus or the train and it's packed. And then you get home, shower, have something to eat, watch a little TV, go to bed. And that can get repeat over and over and over and over again.
Over and over again,
Right.
yeah.
So when for years, right? So you always look forward to the weekend, and even the weekend, you only just enjoy 1.5 day of the weekend, which is Friday and Saturday. And when Sunday comes, you have to go to work the next day, so you get that feeling.
Sunday blues.
Yeah. Oh man.
I didn't want that anymore, and I just so it's part of the reason, and also the fact that running your own business, I'd managed to get rid of some of. I guess the Sunday blues didn't really affect me much because if I
Right.
wanted to start late on a Monday, I could. But
Right.
there's just all the other things that go with it. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now living in Ghana, can you tell us maybe a day what what are some of the benefits, maybe, yeah, the perks in living in Ghana? Obviously, we talked about, you kind of alluded to your money going further, investments. How do you feel as a human being? In terms of lifestyle, well-being, peace of mind. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I guess that's the most important thing, right?
okay, so you want me to run through how I live now that I'm in Ghana?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is even living conditions. Now in the UK, I was renting a one-bedroom flat, and I'm now in Ghana. I'm living in a three-bedroom house with boys' quarters, and I'm paying about 40% of what I paid in the UK,
Wow.
and that's just to start with. So first of all, there's a lot more space. I've converted one of the rooms into a home office that I work from. Whereas in the UK, if I'm working from home, I'm literally in my bedroom at the desk. I can touch my bed. That's the conditions.
Mm.
Now, and that's the other thing. It's an option. Now we're in Ghana. I'm able to afford to have domestic help. So we have a live-in maid,
Mm.
which is not something I could have in the UK on what I'm earning. So that has also made life a little bit easier for myself and my wife. I can concentrate more on the stuff I want to do as opposed to, the chores and the other thing. So even that alone just opens up, you can immediately tell that, yeah, okay, I've leveled up a bit just
Yeah,
by being here, if that makes sense.
yeah, definitely.
And the other thing here is just it's double-edged sword, but there aren't as many rules and regulations just governing your everyday interaction. For instance,
Right.
I need to find somewhere that you can't park. Like literally, there might exist, but I just don't know any where you can't park. You can park almost anywhere. You don't see traffic wardens giving out tickets. That might be good, that might be bad, but from my perspective, it's a welcome. I don't see speed cameras. Not that anyone should speed, but just it feels slightly less oppressive.
Right.
If that,
Mm. Right.
you feel a bit more free. Doesn't mean you should be silly and do things you shouldn't,
Right.
but you just feel like, yeah, you feel a bit more freedom. The weather is great.
Right.
It's rarely under like 25 degrees.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like all year round,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the weather. I can go into some of the downsides later if you like, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, I just feel freer. the difference between my life in the UK, I literally don't miss living in the UK. If I miss anything at all, it's friends and family, but that's it. That, you know. Sorry, I think I may have rambled on a bit. Did I
No,
answer
no,
the question?
no, yeah, you did. You were talking about obviously your kind of lifestyle, the benefits, which is as you described. Um, okay, let's say someone watching this, they might be thinking about moving to Ghana and
Okay.
live their African dream, whether the person is an expat or from the Caribbean or African American, they want to take a trip, or even just someone who just wants to move and they've been considering that.
Right.
And they want to know certain facts, like what is the electricity like in Ghana, because they hear about these power cuts and all these things, the water situation. Can you talk about maybe some of the inconveniences around that and how you get
Yeah,
around? That'd be awesome.
definitely. Like most things in life, nothing is perfect. So some of the downsides of being in Ghana is that you do have power cuts. Electricity will go off for hours at a time. I think the longest I've known it to be off since I've been here was about 11 hours. But that was once in the last year or so. So electricity can go off at inconvenient times. Um, water, water, depending on where you live. Not everywhere in Accra even has water, as in, have piped water to the houses, but most of the places that I would live in or I'd even look at would have had, water piped in. So the water flows fine. What most people I've noticed have is aside from their water, they have a poly tank, which is essentially a huge water container.
Yeah,
Sometimes
we're
5
gonna put like a picture. Maybe we put like a picture up to see
Yeah,
what it's
maybe
like.
a
Yeah,
picture.
yeah,
It's a shame I'm using a phone or else I just,
yeah. Do that. Yeah, it's okay.
around and show them. But polytank is, you hold water in it. And the idea is when water's flowing, you fill up your polytank. So if there's any interruption in water service, you still have enough water for a week or so, which you shouldn't need. It's kind of like a backup supply of water. And most places have that. And with that, I've never had any real problems. Um, Regarding the electricity situation, because I didn't want it to be an issue, when we were moving, one of the agreements we had with my wife is to make sure the electricity wasn't an issue because she knew it happened and she didn't want to live the inconvenience, and I knew
Yeah.
it could become a downside.
Right.
The first couple of months we were here, it wasn't really an issue. We had, the lights would go off once in a while, very rarely and for a short period of time. I remember there was a period where it happened like consistently for about a week. Not that every day for a week, but I think it went off, twice in a week. And then the following week, another once or twice. So I was like, you know what, before you even make it a factor, I went and bought a generator. Now, I bought a diesel generator, nothing too huge or fancy, but something
I
that the
go on
lights,
myself.
yeah. So if the lights go on, you turn on your generator, it's run by diesel. Full tank will probably run about 10 to 12 hours. But I tend to have a spare gallon of diesel just in case. So potentially I could run the generator for a day or more. I've never had to. Usually on average, I'll run it for an hour or two when the power does go off. And that's mainly because maybe I'm doing something and or I'm watching something and I just want to finish my show. And because it's there, I could probably live without it if it was just me. If the lights go off during the day, I've got books, I've got my laptop, I've got 4G on my
Right.
phone, so I can tether my, so electricity on or off, I've got 4G internet connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I should keep working without it. My laptop will run for 6 to 8 hours if need be. But yeah, I didn't want electricity to be a factor.
Right.
So I got a generator. Yeah, and it comes in handy, in case you want to use the microwave and the lights are going off,
Yeah.
just at inopportune time that you're about to microwave your lunch or something. Yeah. So there are problems with that, but I feel like if you come knowing what they are, you either prepare yourself to deal with them or find a way to mitigate them, as in get a generator and make sure you've got a water tank.
Right. Right. Yeah, I had to get one myself. So, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You don't. But the good thing is you don't have to use it. It's not like you're using it every single day. And if it does go off, it's like a couple of hours max, and it's usually back. But yeah, that's I guess that's the caveat. And the water situation, as you said, yeah, we're gonna put a picture of the poly tank.
Yeah.
But people have workarounds. Some maybe if you are renting, it's different. If you are renting, I think you're surely gonna have water somewhere, whether either
Yeah.
via poly tank or often it's through
Exactly.
pipes. It's through pipes. But because I bought I bought a house, we had pipe, but it has not been connected yet. So we had to start off with a poly tank, and now we're getting the pipes connected. So I mean, you don't really notice any difference.
And there's
And
another option as well. Some people get boreholes drilled
yeah,
on their property. So if
yeah,
you've got a borehole, then essentially that's, you can use
yeah.
the water supply or you can just use your
And
borehole.
you can run the borehole through your pipes. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And if you have a borehole, that actually means you're self-sufficient. So
yeah,
look, quite a few people, if they don't have water flowing to their house, they just have a borehole and that
yeah,
takes care of their needs. So
yeah,
there are options.
yeah, exactly. And one of the cool thing is, I think maybe at some point we're gonna try and maybe get some good suppliers of these things that we have vetted to kind of like also share those list of contacts with you guys. So if you needed, a borehole, uh, uh, specialist to come and take a look at your property, they can do that. So, but that's something that we're
Okay.
going to discuss later. So, what about transportation?
Okay.
How do you get around?
Personally, when we moved here, because it was initially for 3 months, I didn't consider buying a car. And fortunately, Uber, Bolt, and Yango, 3 car service companies where you have the app, you call the car, it'll tell you how much it's going to cost. I mean, hopefully most people are familiar with Uber. Same principle. So initially we were getting around in Uber, but even when we decided to stay long term, we realized we didn't actually need a car. I work from home. My wife currently hasn't started working and, she's doing a networking thing, but she's not out every day. We don't have to be anywhere every day. And so I kind of decided, well, maybe we can just continue using the Ubers. And, it's been over a year now. I've been using Uber. We did consider getting a car, but at the time my wife said she doesn't really feel like driving. And I didn't want to become her chauffeur because, because if we get a car and she needs to go somewhere and I'm working or I'm doing something,
Right.
if she's not to drive, then I'd have to drive and wait for her. And it's just like, well, she doesn't go out that much. And when she does, she can just Uber there. So that's what we decided to do. And Uber, Bolt, Yango, they have the feature where if you're in a car, you can share your ride details with someone via WhatsApp or email. So anytime my wife would get an Uber to go somewhere, if she's going by herself, she'd send me the location. Send me the details. I know when she's going. I know the driver's name, telephone number, all necessary registration number, all the necessary details. And I could actually track the trip. So I can tell how far away she is from a destination, so that was more of a safety precaution. And also because she's not from Ghana and this was her first time here and she doesn't speak the local language. I mean, I'm fortunate enough, I can speak the local language. I know my way around fairly well, whereas she didn't. So it was nice that Uber was there actually because she can just find where she wants to go on Google,
Mm.
Uber there, and she doesn't have to worry about how to get there. The driver takes her there. When she's ready to leave, she just calls another Uber. And I found Uber runs all day. We've gone out with friends and called an Uber at like 4 a.m. to get home.
Mm.
Yeah. So not only is Uber convenient, and I
Mhm.
say Uber, Bolt and Yango, we use them interchangeably. I
Mm.
will generally check both whenever I'm going somewhere to see which one's cheaper or
Mm.
which one will get to me quicker, and
Mm.
then pick them. You know,
Right.
that was convenient. So yeah, we've just been using that ever since.
Right.
Um, Eventually, we may get a car, but we haven't got to the point where we need one. So, and
Mm.
aside from the convenience, it's quite cheap.
Mm.
I remember the first couple of days I was here, taking Uber drives with someone driving you for half an hour or so, and it costs less than a bus fare. Like I remember calculating, it was like £1.50, and it was like a half an hour Uber journey or more.
Mm.
I was thinking, I'd spend more just catching buses.
Mm.
Whereas you stay home, call your Uber, they call you when they're outside your house, and they'll
Mm.
wait 5 minutes before they start charging. So, you can take your time, put your shoes on, get comfortable, go out.
Mm.
So for me, it's just convenient and it works and it's low cost. So
Mm.
plus all around.
Right. So when do you think it would be a good? It's okay if someone is maybe traveling for the first time, or they're not planning to stay for long periods of time. They don't have to have their own car. Then they can just use Uber or Yango, as
I,
you said.
I
Or
think so, especially if you're in the major cities. If you're in Accra, you're in Kumasi, definitely.
right.
It's if you're living in some of the maybe smaller cities.
Mm.
I'm not personally. I can't tell you what the Uber coverage is like over there.
Yeah. Right.
If you get really far out of town,
Mm.
then it won't be as easy to catch an Uber. But
Yeah. Exactly.
anywhere I've ever wanted to be around Accra,
Right. You're right.
yeah, full coverage.
Right.
And
Got
then
it.
an additional aspect is when we wanted to do day trips, because we wanted to go to Cape Coast. I mean, yeah, we went with you, didn't we?
Yeah. Yes.
And other things. Then we rented a car and a driver.
Mm.
So the driver, we booked him. He came, I think, 7 a.m. the day of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we put our stuff in. He drove us to the place. He was in the car the entire time, waited for us, and then drove us back home. So,
Yeah. How much did that
and then
cost you at the time? That was last year.
I'm trying. It was
2019.
last year. I don't remember, but I know it was less than £100
Right.
to have the driver. I think it was more like £80, and that's fuel, driver, driving you where you needed to go, waiting for you, driving us around and bringing us back home. And the whole day, we booked it for the day. I think we got home about 14 hours after we left because we got home
Mm.
about 9.
Mm-hmm.
We got stuck in traffic. So yeah, we got home about 9. It's
Mm.
about, let's call it £100 if, I don't know what it'd be now. It was less than £100 to
Right.
have a car and a driver for 14 hours.
Right. Right. Makes sense. Yeah. So there you have it. I hope you found that the transportation bit useful. What about people who not sure if Ghana is a safe country? Politically, is it a safe place to be? Crime-wise, is it a safe place to be? What would you say to that?
I mean, obviously safety is a concern. And if I'm going to be honest, my wife and I, when we considered Ghana and Nigeria, we erred more on the side of Ghana, predominantly because of security concerns in Nigeria. Um, Ghana, if someone's come, they would have done their research. That Ghana hasn't had civil war or that kind of issue that I
Right.
don't know if we. So it's peaceful in that respect. And when it comes to crime, um, there's armed robberies I've heard of, but I don't want to alarm anybody because I don't know anyone personally that has gone through that. But you hear the story, and I'm sure it happens. Pickpocketing in large crowds. I guess if it's the same way when you live in any city or you're visiting
Right.
any city.
Exactly.
Don't go to areas you're not familiar with unless you're there with someone who knows. It's just good sense. And about be aware of your possessions. You know, don't go to a restaurant and just dump your handbag or your backpack in a corner and
Yeah.
then not pay attention. You know, human beings are opportunists, and it's the same here as it is anywhere. If you leave your things lying around, someone will probably steal them.
Mm.
But this entire time I've been here, I haven't felt unsafe. Like I said, we've been out late. They're usually buzzing, lots of people around. In terms of in the house, where we're living, the house has electric fence around it. People who aren't familiar with electric fence, essentially on top of the wall, there's an additional electric fence, and anyone who touches it, you get shocked. You know, animals, people, whoever, you will get shocked if you touch it. On top of that, the house has CCTV. So when we're in, CCTV, you can see all around the house and outside the house.
Right.
Also, the doors to the house, the front door, the back door, and I didn't know this was a thing until recently, and I've noticed most houses I've been to in Ghana are similar. They've got steel doors. And by this, I mean, these are like iron or steel, well, probably iron, where the door isn't on a hinge. The hinge is built into the building, like the concrete.
All right.
So, and then the steel door is fitted inside of that. So, for instance, it's not something you can kick down. Like no human being that I know of is going to be able to kick that door once it's locked. So that's the other things. And every door, everywhere I go, windows, behind every window, there's steel bars.
Yeah.
I can give you a slight example. If you look at that window,
Right.
Steel bars inside. And that's just something that every house that I've known has. It's just like a precaution that everybody takes.
Yeah.
So essentially, when we're in for the night, I will lock the front and back doors so we're in securely. We've got the CCTV as well, so we can, just in case, if you're the type, if you hear a noise and you don't know what it is, I'll just check the CCTV to make sure no one's on the site.
Right.
To see outside the gate as well.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like as long as you're aware of these things and you take the precautions, another step would be to live in a gated community. I know quite a few people, friends and family, who live in gated communities. And with that, there's a main gate all around the entire community with electric fences and security patrols. And there's only one or two entrances, and every entrance has, like a barrier that cars can come. And essentially to get into it, you have to speak to security guard, tell them who you're coming to see, and they will call the person's home or mobile.
Right.
They give you the permissions and then they let you in. So if you wanted extra precautions, that's something you can do.
Right.
So bottom line, yeah, Ghana's safe. I feel safer here than in some parts of London.
Okay. No, you mean definitely. And because safety is, especially someone who's never been to Africa, when we were growing up, most of my Caribbean friends thought that Africa is a jungle and all that, but I guess people are now waking up now. So it's good to kind of like go through the basics. And what's the living cost? Tell us about the living cost in Ghana. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, without
I know this will facilitate. I know that's going to facilitate for it's not really for.
I don't know if I could go into specific figures or
the
percentages of what I used to live on in the UK. Bottom line, if I'm going percentages, we're living off rent included. I'd say less than 50% of what we were living on in the UK.
Right.
Probably close to 40%.
Right.
Just by being here, saying 40%, it might be less, but just by being here immediately, I'm like 40%, 60% or 50% better off financially.
Yeah.
Mentioned investment, so that's more savings, more investment, or just more disposable income.
Yeah.
if I was that way inclined. Um, so, and I think Ghana, one thing you need to understand is it depends on the individual,
Yeah.
because Accra being a major city
Yeah.
in you can get almost anything you can get anywhere else. And if you're the type who like to live, you like fine dining and that's your
Mm.
thing, and you like to go out to bars and restaurants quite regularly, you could easily spend as much as you spent in the UK.
Mm.
You know, what I found is you will spend as much as you want to spend here easily, comfortably.
Yeah.
So really, if you want to spend £10,000 a month here, you can find ways to do that.
Yeah.
You know. But on the other side of the spectrum, if you're more conservative in your spending and you're quite a simple person, the savings are, you know.
Yeah. But you can still, in what Nana is saying, you can still enjoy yourself even on, don't think that Nana is like not enjoying himself. He is. Like,
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not living like a monk.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the thing here is nice is, our cost of living is low. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I can afford to eat and go out to the most exclusive places here.
Yeah.
Obviously, I won't do that all the time because that's just not who I am.
Right.
But I can, even still doing that. When I say our living expenses,
Mm.
I'm talking about with me still, occasionally going out to, uh, a nice restaurant or
Mm.
going to one of the five-star hotels or
Right.
going on a day trip, outside of the city with some
Right.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
We still, but even with that, still, you know, so yeah, it's one of those things. I'm still partial to certain foods. I love Ghanaian food.
Right.
Once in a while, you still want certain things. You might want fish and chips. You might want, I don't know, full English. I like to cook, so I do cook all of that. But occasionally, maybe you're in the mood for a burger or something,
Right.
or or maybe it's for whatever reason, it's date night, and you want to go. My wife and I want to go to a nice place and have a nice dinner. We still do that.
Right. And what about? I mean, okay. Tell me, like, what are some of the interesting places you've been so far in Ghana? Because I've been, even though we went to Cape Coast together, which was an amazing day with my kids and my missus, your missus. Yeah, it was a really really amazing day. We didn't get a chance to do the Karkum Park, but you did it.
No,
Did you go
I
there
have done
before?
that before. I've done
Oh,
that. I haven't done it yet. Done that before.
right,
Some of the amazing places, like Ghana has somewhat like last year we went to Boti Falls, which is like a waterfall,
right,
and we made a day of it. So we went there, did the tour, saw the place, did a kind of like a canoe trip around there. Afterwards, we went to Aburi, which
right.
is a town noted for its gardens, and it's a bit elevated, so it's very cool out there. Really nice atmosphere. So we did. My friend was visiting from the UK as well, so she was with us. So we did that. Um, we go to the beach sometimes, like even when we came to your side, your neck of the woods, when we went to the beach, that was really cool. We go once in a while. We go to Labadi Beach to swim or just to check out the beach. There's Bojo Beach, which is another beach. And to get to that beach, once you get there, you have to kind of get on a canoe and they ferry you out to the
Okay.
sandbar. I don't know how to describe it, but there's
Yeah.
water between the beach and the mainland. So you go there, they put you on the canoe, and they ferry you across, and then you're on this pristine beach. And it's really cool. So, if you love the beach, Ghana is the place to be. Loads of cool beaches. I've also visited Takoradi, which is another city. I
Right.
went to visit family and a cousin of mine there. Had a
Mm.
great time, saw the sights, experienced some of the nightlife. It's always nice to be in a different city because, you just get a different feel for the atmosphere there tends to be slightly different. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Um, Kumasi, as people have heard of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Yeah.
Kumasi is where the capital is. We have Dementia Palace and the cultural center there, where they've got all those traditional, like kente cloth, the people who make it, stalls there. They show you the arts and crafts. It depends. There's so many things. Recently, we went hiking, Crowborough Hills. Um, it was a lot more difficult than I expected.
Yeah.
I always want to call it mountain climbing, but it wasn't quite like it. But yeah, we drove up there in a group. We hiked up this pretty steep, it took about an hour or so to get to the top. Hung out, saw the sights. The guide gave us a tour of the local history. We came back down. And then afterwards, what did we do? We went to a resort called Royal Senchi, really nice place. Had a nice relaxed meal, showered, cleaned up, had a nice meal there. They had a pool there, but nobody felt like swimming. So we just chilled there, had a nice meal. Afterwards, we came back to Accra, and then we went go-karting.
Right.
So
Whereabouts? Whereabouts?
In Tema.
Tema,
There
okay.
was a place in Tema, they've got like a go-kart ring. So we went go-karting there, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, there's stuff to do. It really depends on you. Like most places, you can always find things. Recently, we've discovered this kind of farmers market, the Dubois Center in Accra. And next Saturday, we're going to go there for our second time. So you have people, they'll come there with their foods and arts and crafts and, local purses, scarves, trinkets on display. You can kind of wander around, fresh produce, and there's, get some food. It's almost a bit like Borough Market in the UK, an African version of that, if you will.
Right.
You go there, there's stalls with food, there's trinkets, and, you can just chill out. We met some people, met one of the friends we went hiking with. He had invited some people, so we met some new people, and we just had a meal together, and actually we're trying to meet up again this coming Saturday. So things to do. You can be as sociable as you want to, or you can be a homebody. Like I'm a homebody, but once I like to go out and socialize.
Yeah, you've definitely seen more things than I have. Yeah, so I think you got one up on me. I've the only place I've been to so far is the Cape Coast. Well, we went to was that Cape Coast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Cape Coast.
That was Cape Coast. And we saw the Aluminium Castle and the other castle, which I forgot the name of, which is not great being from Ghana. Yeah. What's the second castle called?
Is it George Castle?
Yeah, something like that.
Like George or something.
Yeah. That was
Cape Coast. We actually just call it Cape Coast
Castle.
Yeah,
actually, you're right. It's just called the Cape Coast Castle.
Yeah, Cape Coast Castle, and then there's Elmina Castle.
Yeah. What just out of curiosity, I mean, what was it? Was there any eye opening? Obviously, we know the history, but was there any eye opening thoughts and realizations that you had on that visit, like going through the castle and
a bit of background for people who don't know, those castles are where slaves would be taken, and that would be the last place they would be before they were shipped out to the West, basically. Yeah. So over there's a gateway, they call it the door of no return. Once the slaves passed through that, they were loaded onto the ships and they were never to return back home. So I'd been to the castles before. I knew the history. But even being there again, I think you can't help but to be affected by the sadness, the cruelty of the situation. So yeah, that was, obviously that was the most. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah.
It was emotional.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. My shocking part was knowing that where they kept, I think the women, slaves, there was like a church on top of it where they will worship God and in the biggest dungeon, and they will be underneath them. I'm like, wow, that is just crazy. Yeah, that was like, yeah. But
And
anyway,
also the fact that there's where the women were kept, there was a trapdoor where the governor of the fort could, pick someone for
yeah,
his convenience at will.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it wasn't a surprise to me because I had been there before and I knew what to expect.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely sad. I mean, when you watch Obama, when he came to Ghana for the first time, he went there with his family, and you can tell anybody that definitely, if you do go to Ghana, you must definitely go and visit, especially if it's your first time.
Definitely.
It's definitely an eye opener, and um, yeah, I think it'll be. It's definitely a must see after going there. Okay, healthcare.
Okay.
What's the healthcare situation in Ghana like in terms of, let's say you are ill, you need some treatment. Also, I heard there's a lot of mosquitoes, obviously, and all that kind of stuff. Tell me about all these things.
All right.
What's
So
the
I'll
healthcare?
start with the mosquitoes and then go from there.
Right.
One of the downsides is obviously there are mosquitoes here when there aren't any mosquitoes in London or the UK that
No,
I
no,
know of.
there is it's summertime. Yeah, I've been bitten, like, right. I've got
Okay.
some in summertime. They're
Exactly.
not traveling. They're not traveling.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess global warming temperatures are changing. But yes, there's mosquitoes, and I know it's a bit of a pain for me. It's also been a bit of a pain for my wife because they seem to love her. So that's been a whoops kind of thing. The mosquitoes. I remember when I first arrived, I'd go everywhere in shorts and t-shirts because it was warm and
I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then I remember you remarked, you were like, "Oh, you're still wearing shorts everywhere," and you're probably thinking to yourself, "Ha, you wait, I'll give you a month or two and see if you still
You
do
know
that."
what? Because that's how I did it. I did it like for the first couple of years. I went shorts to the office, everywhere, but I didn't care. I was still getting bites. But then after a while, after a couple of years, yeah, because I was coming like I'll come to Ghana for like a few months, leave.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wear shorts all the time. So when I finally learned my lesson of not to do that, because especially no, it's okay to wear shorts, as you know, if you know you're going out maybe kind of like late morning, if it's
yeah,
or maybe let's say from 10, and you're coming back before 4 or 5, you are safe. But if you make the mistake of coming back like in the evening and you
yeah,
short, because they
yeah.
come when they
So that's
mosquito.
what I was doing. I was literally like, if I'm going out for the day, I wouldn't even consider how long I'd be going out, or where I just, t-shirt and shorts, and away I go, feeling
Mhm.
free, my sandals, enjoying the weather. I'm like, oh, this is good. What I realized was that in the evening, the mosquitoes were killing me. So what I started doing is I would figure out how long I'm going to be. Like if I'm leaving in the morning, running a few errands, and I know I'm going to be back plenty of time, I'll wear my shorts, and that's fine. If I know I'm going out and I may not be back till evening, jeans or tracks, yeah, I'm making sure I'm wearing trousers of some kind.
Yeah,
I'll wear my t-shirt most of the time, but my legs, just because I think it's easier to keep an eye on your arms,
yeah,
but with your legs, you just kind of forget about your legs. So before you
yeah,
know it, you've
yeah.
been hit upon. So yeah, there's that. The mosquito is an issue. Um, when I was staying at my uncle's place initially, because we didn't have control of coming and going, even when we used to come down to the dining hall, there was mosquitoes indoors. So
Mm,
that was a bit of a pain too. Since we moved into our own place, we don't leave the doors open. Everywhere's mosquito nets. So even if we do open the windows, it's a mosquito net. But even the doors, you will never see the front door just open.
mm,
You know, like I'll come in and I'll shut the door behind me.
yeah,
Front door, back door, always shut behind me. So generally there aren't mosquitoes indoors. And every now and then we will spray inside the house if we notice like maybe one or two have snuck in. So indoors is fine. It's just now when I go out, I'm aware of mosquitoes. And I've even realized somebody was telling me when you wear light clothing, like white t-shirts, white shirts, you don't attract them as much.
oh,
And it makes
interesting.
sense. They're attracted to darker colors
All
and
right.
some other things. So there's, yeah, just little things. the healthcare system, to be blunt, I do not trust the healthcare system here as much as I do in the UK, mainly because of equipment and infrastructure.
Mm.
I think the doctors are just as qualified, just as competent. However, there aren't as many MRI machines, the CTI scan. Most of those big ticket, expensive pieces of equipment, there aren't as many, I don't know, per thousand of the population. There aren't as many. Even Accra, the capital, there are limited numbers of these things. So generally speaking, I feel like for specialist equipment, that is an area where they're lacking. That being said, I think recently there have been big investments in the infrastructure.
Right.
And I think COVID actually has been a blessing in disguise for some. Now, the reason I say that is a lot of the politicians have probably had the idea that if something happens, they can just go to the US or the UK or the Emirates and get treated, so they don't have to worry. As long as they're personally wealthy, it's all good. But with COVID, with the global travel ban, it didn't matter how much money you had, you still couldn't travel.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that has given people incentive to invest more. And I've been hearing that. So I don't know if it's been COVID related or they were going to do it anyway. But whatever it is, there's a lot more investment in infrastructure. Now, fortunately, I haven't really been sick, or neither of us has been sick since we've been here. But I am aware that they've got really good diagnostic centers. So if you need blood tests and those kind of things done, there are private companies who have state-of-the-art equipment for those kind of things like CT scans and certain blood tests, etc. So you're covered there. So I guess my plan for us, our healthcare, I spoke to a couple of friends of mine. I'm fortunate enough to have friends from school who are doctors, and they recommended the hospitals that they think have the best facilities and best doctors.
Right.
And I was asking, should I go there and register with them so that if anything happens, I can just show up and be treated?
Right.
And the guy said, I could do that, but there's no guarantee that's essentially going to speed up your treatment in any way. So the take we've taken is, if anything happens to myself or my wife, I'm expecting to go to one of those hospitals and have to pay for healthcare, which is our plan. Anything happens there, and once you pay, you're going to get treated, and that money talks to a certain extent. And also, if you know the right people, that can also help. So there's that aspect of things. If I had an issue that didn't require immediate attention, I would probably just return to the UK currently, if I'm being quite honest.
Like, something about emergency or?
Something that wasn't an emergency.
Oh,
like
wasn't
if it's
an emergency.
I could have looked out next month, I don't know, if I had a condition and it wasn't immediately fatal, but I'm like, you need to eventually schedule a procedure or get something done. I would probably return to the UK and get it done there. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I can. I'm fortunate enough to be a British national. So is my wife. So it's an option for us. For me, it doesn't make sense to rule out any options. Especially,
it's kind of funny you saying that, because I know someone, I know it's good to get different perspectives, because I was talking to, kind of like a friend of a friend that we, no, she has a house near Kokrobite, as a matter of fact. And she prefers the healthcare in Ghana than compared to the UK, just because she knows she can be seen faster. Like she was just saying that, and also there's better doctors in Ghana, she feels, that will give better medication to her. So she actually prefers to be in Ghana. And also I'll differ with you when it comes to, I had different, different experience when it comes to like MRI scans, because one time when I was in Ghana, I had a severe back pain from exercising. I exercised the wrong way. I had a severe back pain, so I just wanted to check if everything was okay. And I looked up online, found a place in La Paz, went there, paid I think £100 or less, and got my MRI scan done. You know, obviously it takes 45 minutes. Yeah, just done, and they gave me the thing, and yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. But obviously, if you're doing that in NHS, that could take quite long. But obviously, it's free, but then that would be, well, it's not free because you get taxed, but it's free. Let's put it that way. But
You wouldn't get it straight away.
you wouldn't get it straight away, because even I trying to get, like, I had like an injury one time, because I run and all that kind of stuff. So, and I wanted to get an MRI, and that was like, I had to wait for a while to get it. And sometimes the doctors want you to take medication, and if you're still getting worse, and then you come. But in Ghana, obviously, if you have like £100 or something like that, or whatever, of course you can just get it done, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously one way is good, one way is bad if you don't have the money. But yeah, she prefers the the healthcare treatments in Ghana than, which is interesting anyway. But yeah,
I can see why that's an advantage, because you can
yeah,
get seen to, like you said,
yeah,
I said, who you know and your
yeah,
money you have will
yeah,
affect what kind of
yeah,
healthcare and how quickly you see it. It's just that for me, like I was more thinking, if I have a condition,
right,
like a really specialist condition, and there's something that required some
right,
expensive piece of machinery that maybe they didn't have here,
right,
and also there's an economic aspect to it to me. Like if it's going to cost, £5,000 to get it done here,
yeah,
and I can just jump on a plane and get it scheduled in the UK,
yeah,
I might, because I still pay my taxes in the UK. I'm still paying UK taxes,
yeah,
so why not
yeah,
benefit
sure,
from that?
sure, makes sense. Okay, cool. What about money matters? Like, how do you manage your money in Ghana, converting the currency from pounds to the city? What's the most efficient way for someone to kind of like carry their money around or move money
Okay.
around? Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're just visiting short term, now we have these digital banks, these challenger banks, I think they call them now. I personally had a Revolut card because I'd used it to travel for years, and it's been useful. So essentially, for people who might not be familiar with it, with this card, it's like a prepaid card. I think it's a MasterCard or Visa, I'm not sure. But it's a prepaid credit card or a debit card, yeah. So what you can do, you can load money onto it via either bank transfer, or it's an app. You can literally pull money from the app from your linked account onto the card. And once it's in the card, you can spend money in different countries, and it changes it at the bank rate, I think. So very good exchange rates. And because it's all digital, they're leveraging the technology and the speed of transaction so for
Right.
that, I found it was much more efficient than finding a Forex bureau and changing cash
Mhm.
into local currency. And I've used it everywhere I've traveled, like Europe, Brazil, even in China. And then, yeah.
Okay.
So the reason I'd advise that is I feel like from a security perspective, you don't want to be carrying large amounts of cash with you. So initially when we came to Ghana, I didn't even, in fact, when I travel, I don't even change local currency. I will land wherever I'm going with no local currency. And then at the airport, find a cash machine and then
Mm.
take out some for that first initial, if I have to
Mm.
take out pounds worth or £50 worth, I'll
Right.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I generally do. And you can do that in Ghana.
Yeah.
So I was using that card to pay for stuff. Most places have, card reader machines. If you go to restaurants or
Yeah.
hang out at hotels, occasionally you go places that don't have it and you pay cash. Now, if you don't have the card and you're out of cash, I found there's another thing here called mobile money. So the way to think about mobile money is it's like you get your, I don't know, EE SIM card, and it gives you the option to put money on your SIM card.
If someone
So
is in America, EE SIM card will be equivalent to what? T-Mobile?
Verizon or T-Mobile
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Sprint,
Right.
essentially have your mobile phone provider SIM card
Right.
allows you to put money on it. So it's like an informal bank. So what it can do is imagine having like your EE SIM card and then you can transfer £20 onto it.
Right.
Or £50 onto it.
Right.
And when you go to a restaurant, they may not have card readers, but they might have a sign saying we take mobile money. So
Right.
in that case, you just send them mobile money using your SIM card. Now, you could either dial, there's prompts. You can dial like, I don't know, 701 hash, and
Yeah.
then the person's telephone number, and then the
Yeah.
amount, authorization, and then it sends the money to them.
Yeah. Efficient.
So that's one way to make payments. In fact, that's how we pay our prepaid electricity. We just send mobile money to the meter as a top up because they don't take card payments. So I have found that mobile money is much more common than actually even MasterCard or Visa. Like you can have coconut sellers like sitting by the roadside and you don't have cash. Chances are if you ask him, do you have mobile money? He'll say, yeah, you can send him mobile money. You can go to a market buying tomatoes, and chances are very high the lady selling you tomatoes takes mobile money.
Yeah.
So it's become almost like an informal banking sector here. And which is good because there's a lot of people who may not bother or have access to traditional banking, but they've got mobile. And if you want to take money out, there's vendors all over, mobile money vendors who sell, the same people who sell credit for your phones and other things, prepaid top-ups for mobile phone. They also do cash out. So you can go there, tell them, I want to take, 100 cities out. And then they'll give you their details. You authorize it, and they give you the cash. Now, some of these services, they will charge you. Like if you're taking cash out, depending on the amount, if it's above a certain amount, I think they'll charge you 1%.
Yeah.
That's how you make money from it. But a lot of the times it's convenient and it works, and that's a way to spend money. But cash is king.
Yeah.
Cash is still king.
Right. Right. Yeah. Mobile money is definitely useful. That's what I use often. Definitely.
People will come and do work for you, workmen, and just send me mobile money.
Sure. And what about, because I got a feeling some people might be watching this and they'll be thinking, yeah, that's easy for you. You are an entrepreneur. You still have the option to work from Ghana and still be earning pounds. I work, I'm a postman, right? I work for Royal Mail. I deliver letters. I have to be out of it. Do I have to be an entrepreneur to live in Ghana?
I think that's a very good question. Now, I'll preface that by saying, if you're going to move to Ghana, first of all, have a plan. Don't just up and be like, yeah,
have a plan. Amen to that.
Have a plan. So if you're not able, if my plan was I could continue earning via my business as a digital nomad. If you're a postal worker, first of all, you will either need another job or you'll need to start a business because you'll need a source of income. If you're leaving, you can't deliver mail from Ghana to Croydon. You are. So you're going to essentially have to quit your job or at least go on sabbatical. So you need to start thinking to yourself, okay, if I'm moving to Ghana and I'm no longer going to be able to be a postal, postman or woman, what am I going to do for money? You've got two options. You can try and find a job here. I'm sure there are jobs here. You have to ask yourself, is the job here going to pay you what you want? Is it going to mean changing your lifestyle? You know, how much can you earn in this job? How much you want to live on, etc., etc. Or you can think about starting a business. So yeah, those are your two options really. You either try and find a replacement job here, and there are some companies who are hiring, I almost hate the word, but expat workers, you know, workers who they want you to move to Ghana, but they appreciate the fact that maybe you lived in the UK or the US, worked in the West. Basically, it's like moving you from head office to a branch. So, you know, you might work for, I don't know, Lloyd's Bank, not Lloyd's, Barclays. And, you know, if Barclays have a branch in Ghana, they may well hire you, you know, and sometimes that can work out quite well. But what I would say is, one thing I found with people in Ghana, even those that have a normal job, you know, someone who maybe works for an accounting firm or a bank, etc., most people also have a side hustle.
Right.
Most people have a side hustle, and it might not even be because they need that side hustle to live, but they know if you're going to get ahead, you know, it's good to have that side hustle. And I think the fact that Ghana doesn't have the same kind of safety net, like, you know, there's no universal credit or job seekers allowance or any of those kind of things that someone living in the UK might be able to turn to. Ghana, if you're not earning, is either your family are going to bail you out or you're in trouble.
Right.
So because of that, if someone has a job, I think because they don't want to be reliant on the job, even here, there are still people who have jobs for life. You know, they'll stay with the company for years. It's a little bit like things were in the UK maybe 10, 20 years ago. I feel like now in the UK, probably in America, fewer people will start, you know, finish school, join a company, and work for that company for 20 years, 30 years, and then retire. That's not really, whereas Ghana, it's probably more common here than it is there, but it's changing. So I feel like here a lot of people turn to the side hustle as just another extra option to build up their wealth and also as a safety cushion. If worst comes to worst, you know, you can take care of your basic needs with your side hustle.
Right.
So to answer the question, if you're coming, have a plan. Your plan is either to find a job, and I would not advise just moving to Ghana and then looking for a job unless you have someone you're going to stay with and you've got a reasonable amount of savings that you can get by on. Other than that, I'd say have a plan. Like, you know, if you're starting a business even, maybe then transition. Don't just move at once. Come here, do a few things, go back, do your thing. When you've got time, come back again, build it up. And then maybe when you've got that business to a point where it's starting to earn income for you, then transition.
Yeah. Or yeah, that's very, very useful. I was talking to sort of a friend of the family, Mr. Frimpong. He was like, this is how he did it. He was a bus driver. So obviously he has to be on the bus to earn a living. And he wanted to live his African dream in Ghana. So what he worked out was if he can get his accommodation sorted out, that is a big win for him. So that means he doesn't have to pay rent and he doesn't worry about selling. Yeah, I think that was his main thing, accommodation and the car. So what he did was, I think in a period of maybe 2-3 years, he will, or maybe less, maybe, yeah. So you come to Ghana, maybe let's say with 10 grand. And that time he had like 2 plots of land. He built his house and got it done. And, you know, and then he had like obviously vegetations planted in his, he made a little garden for himself. He's got mango trees. He has, you know, papaya trees, you know, cassava, plantain. So he's very self-sufficient. So he doesn't have a particular business, but he has savings. So he just made sure that he had like a year, or and a year of savings is a lot of money in Ghana, right? And then he just moved back, right? So most of the time he's just chilling. Every now and then he has a shop and he sells stuff that he brought over from the UK. But yeah, he's living his African
So,
dream just because
so
he got rid of his he doesn't have to pay rent. He doesn't have to,
okay.
yeah, so he just lives free, and then most of his food is where he lives. So he's eating organic stuff, and you know he doesn't have to worry about bills.
So for him, he took care of his living costs by building the house,
Yeah,
getting a car for transportation,
yeah.
and then when he did come, well, he had the savings, and he had enough savings that he would live off of that until he. So is
Figure
he
out what he's
still
gonna do.
driving a bus? Is he still driving a bus, or did he just move? I quit his job, moved,
Yeah. So
and then
after he built his house, and then he quit his job and moved.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and the other thing I'll add as well is one thing I've personally been doing as well is I'm keen on investments.
Hmm.
So what I did when I came as well is I partnered a few times. So
Right.
I put capital and invested in partnerships where there's profit sharing agreements based on that. So that is an option, but obviously you have to be very careful with that. And
Hmm.
then that has its own pluses and minuses.
Hmm.
But it's, you need to make sure you have some kind of income stream.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
Or
be it something from the UK or something locally, where you need some kind of income if you're coming.
sure, that makes sense. And uh, anything else that you feel it would be good for that we haven't covered that you feel that would be good for people to know? I mean, one more question comes to mind would be, from your journey. Obviously, you were born in Ghana, right?
No,
No,
actually, I
no,
was
sorry,
born
you were
in
born in the UK and then schooled. You did your equivalent to GCSEs in Ghana, or is this
yeah,
is that
yeah, yeah.
okay? Or did you come back and do your GCSEs before you
No, I did the GCSE O levels and A level equivalents in Ghana.
in Ghana? Okay, cool. And then you came back, and then okay. So yeah, so you have had like both upbringings in two different cultures, and you've had a good job in the IT business, and then you decide to make that move. Um, if someone else was considering, okay, knowing what you now know, let me rephrase the question. Knowing now what you now know now, would you do anything differently, or what would you say would be your top three advice or tips that you give to a brother or sister considering something
Okay.
similar?
So I'm gonna talk to you as if I was talking to like my brother or sister. What
Yeah.
advice I would give them. One thing to note is, well, I'll start with the lighter things. It might get a bit heavier, but I'll start with the lighter thing. Punctuality,
Okay.
not something that people here take as seriously as I do, or as some people would. Now, I knew that already coming here because this was not my first time in Ghana, and I'd spoken to people, so I was prepared. So, what I do, if I have a meeting with someone, an agreed time, I will always make sure I have an audiobook on my phone, my Kindle with me, or even my laptop. Literally, make sure you have some way to be productive because chances are high they're not going to show up on time and you may have to wait. So I used to get really furious because I thought people were disrespecting me. You're not appreciating my time. But
Mhm.
I've come to realize it's more of just time. People they are not as exact with time as people are in the West. If someone says, "Oh, I'll meet you at 10 o'clock," what they really mean is around 10, you know,
Mhm.
then you after 10-ish
Mhm.
is what I'm saying. Now, I've been pleasantly surprised a few times, and I'm always like, wow, this person, I'm always impressed when someone is punctual,
Mhm.
but be prepared,
Mhm.
especially even if you have business meetings and
Mhm.
other things, prepared, people will be late. They'll tell you, oh, traffic or something. And sometimes traffic can be bad. Now, because I work from home and I don't have to deal with traffic, that I'm not the best person to talk to about that. But I have heard traffic can be horrible.
Mm.
And for me, even when I'm in traffic, I'm in an Uber. So I don't have to pay attention. I can read my book or listen to my music or my audio, or even some cases pull out my laptop and work. So I'm almost immune to traffic. But, you know, that's another thing to consider. So I wish, you know, if someone's coming, I want them to know, don't get angry, don't get frustrated. People will be late. Have a plan. Be prepared. Be prepared. Secondly,
Yeah.
when you come from abroad, people know you come from abroad, and as such, people will try to cash in on you because they know chances are if you're spending £1 on something, you might not think that thing might actually be worth 20p, but they'll like, oh, it's £1. And you'll be like, oh, £1 for this? Because for you, you're like, you pay £2 for this normally. So know what things are worth. A way to mitigate that, it's like going on holiday anyway. You know, if you go on holiday, you're a tourist, people will try to sell you things, taxi drivers will try and charge you more.
Inflated prices.
Inflated prices. You can mitigate that by asking someone you know there how much things should be so that you've got an idea of what it should be roughly. And also, rule of thumb, if someone says they'll charge you something, maybe half it to begin the negotiation and see how they react. Some people will half it and they'll be outraged, like, no, 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 no. Then you know, okay, maybe it's not. But a lot of the time you'll half it, like, oh, no, okay, give me this. Then you know, okay, you might have actually, it might actually be worth this, but then you have to do the dance of negotiating. Now, if you hate haggling, you're probably just going to pay, you're going to overpay for things because people will quote you a price expecting you to ask for a discount.
Yes.
So if something is worth, let's say, 10 cedis, they will probably say, oh, give me 12 or 13, you know, or given, if you're a tourist and you're looking kind of rich to them, they might even just start with 20, you know, and then see how you feel. If you're like 20, you're like, oh, okay. They're like, okay, take your money. If they say 20, you're like, oh, 10. And he's like, oh. Then they're like, okay, I have an idea, and then they'll haggle. And, you know, you might end up paying 12. Sometimes, depending on what it is, I won't haggle too hard because I will look at the person and I'm like, okay, this person is out here all day selling these peanuts or whatever it is they're selling, or these bananas.
Yeah.
Now, they may be wanting 10 cedis for it, where I know maybe the fair price is probably 8. They charge me an extra 2 cedis, but you know that 2 cedis might be 5p or less. And I might just look at him like, look, this person they're out here all day trying to make the sale. It's hot. That 5p is not really gonna make a big difference to me. So sometimes I'll almost do it as a charitable act and just say, cool, you know, I'm giving something back.
Yeah.
You know? So, but sometimes on principle, if I feel like you're trying to take advantage of me or you feel like I'm
trying it on,
then I will dig in and I'll have it in my, like, you know, this is the price I'll pay. If you won't go lower than that, then I will walk away. And I will walk away because 9 out of 10 times I don't really need it. It's just like a want. Oh, I fancy this. So that's one thing. People will try and cheat you to some extent. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
And on that front, well, I guess I don't need to say much on that. I've said that. People will try and get more for you, be it somebody selling you a piece of fruit, or be it, you know, you've had an electrician come to your house to sort out some wiring for you. If you haven't spoken to a friend to get a good idea of how much it costs, you may end up paying more. Right. Also, if you're going to use a workman, like a carpenter, electrician, a plumber, whatever, try and use somebody that somebody you know personally has used before, i.e., get a referral or a recommendation, because that tends to mitigate that urge for them to try and milk you.
Right.
Because if they know you're that person, they milk you, and the person asks, okay, how did that go? And then they tell, and they're like, oh, you know, the person like, how could you do that? So there's almost a feeling of, I can't take the piss because they may talk to so-and-so who recommended them, and then they'll know I tried to cheat them. And also reliability. Aside from the payment, there's another thing. You might tell an electrician, oh, I need you to come look at something for me. And he'll tell you, oh, okay, yeah, I'm free on Tuesday. So I'll see you on Tuesday. You're like, cool. Tuesday, maybe Tuesday afternoon is when you were expecting him. Huh, you've heard nothing. You're like, oh, I'll give it an hour. Maybe he's late. You know how people are here. 2-3 hours later, you've heard. So you're like, what's going on? And then you call. No one picks up. You call again. No answer. And you might send a message. 4 or 5 hours later, it's evening time now, so you're not very hopeful it's going to happen today. They might message you back or call you back and say, oh, I'm really sorry. I got caught up on a job somewhere else, or, you know. And a part of you is like, well, if you knew you weren't going to make it, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you just say to me, hey, I'm really sorry. Something's come up. Can we reschedule for tomorrow? And you might be like, okay, no biggie. But they won't do that. They will not tell you anything. You will call and they will avoid your calls. And then the next day they might call you and say, or they might not even call you. You might try them again the next day and then they'll answer and then they'll apologize. So I've realized here, instead of people giving you a heads up, they would rather avoid you. And then when they're ready to do the work, then they'll either contact you or answer your call and then apologize. So it's almost like, ignore you, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, and then give you an excuse. And that's it. And to their mind, that's it. Everything should be fine. Like, why are you still upset? I gave you, you know, I told you. And it's almost like, well, when you called me and I didn't pick up, you should have known I wasn't coming. You know? So that was something that was really frustrating for me. Because I pride myself on being reliable. And I feel like if you're a workman or you're self-employed, being reliable is how you generate trust with your customer. But that's not the case here. So it was upsetting, but I see it as a way to have a competitive advantage if you become involved in a business or a segment. If you're reliable and you have good customer service, you are immediately like in the top 10%, which is good as an entrepreneur. So yeah, that's something.
Definitely. I have experienced that myself. And you need to just take a chill pill, have a backup plan. Otherwise, you'd be frustrated. But then when you put it into perspective, you get to appreciate it about Ghana as well in a weird way.
And actually, another thing I'll add to that, as an investor, investment perspective, first and foremost, always make sure there's a solid contract in place between both parties.
Right.
But even then, even with a contract in place, there's still that kind of, oh, you know what, I might, you know, I was supposed to pay this on Tuesday, but it's going to be Thursday. You know, there's slippage.
Right.
But me, if I knew I wasn't going to make the Tuesday, I'd probably give you a heads up a week before to pre-warn you, like, look, this has happened. Because of that, I'm not going to be able to make the payment or do this until, so, you know, you don't want the person to suddenly be like, what's happening? I would want to give them fair warning and kind of give them some expectation so they don't panic. Here, it's a similar thing. You'll be like, oh, what's happening? Oh, yeah, you know what? The items that we were clearing from port have been delayed, so I'm going to have to wait till I get hold of them before I do this. So it's probably going to be another few days or a week, but no biggie, don't worry. You know. So a piece of advice I give people make sure you have a cushion.
Yeah.
Even if you invest in and you're living off that investment, make sure you have some savings. Make sure you have good cash flow, as we call it in business,
Yeah.
so that if anything happens, you're not in trouble immediately. You can kind of go with the flow.
Right.
And what else? One more thing with the investment thing, people have a bit of an issue of transparency.
Mm.
Not that they don't want to be transparent, but it's like if you invest, you signed all the documents, you're in agreement, they expect you to just, you've invested, now leave me alone. I'll take care of whatever agreement. Whereas as an investor, I might want to I want you to keep me appraised of things so that I can estimate risk. I can, if things are going really well, I can maybe increase my investments,
Right.
all these things. Whereas here, it's kind of like, oh, why are you giving me all the extra work? Why are you bothering me with this? So that's
Obviously,
something to do.
yeah, just to put a bit of context into this. So Nana is talking about some investments that he made with his, you know, what should I say, some of your close friends from Ghana, right? So
Yeah.
it's people that he knows well. So we are not recommending that when you go to Ghana or Africa, you just find a random person and just start making investments for them. We don't recommend that because we don't know who you are engaging
Exactly.
with. So in everything, obviously, you have to be, it's a disclaimer. You have to, be very
Yeah.
cautious and do your homework and all that kind of stuff, background checks. But this is just, we're talking about our experiences and his experiences in terms of what he has experienced, making investments with his friends and, even with his friends, seeing how that is going.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to kind of like throw that
Yeah,
out.
no, I appreciate it. Thanks for the disclaimer. So yeah, the
Right,
disclaimer is these are people that I've known for decades,
right.
known for a long time. I've known them, their friends, the family, knew lots of mutual friends. So even there's some aspect of, you really know this person. But you still have to make sure you sign all the right paperwork and do your due diligence.
Mm,
Because Ghana is, like you said, there's no safety net. There's a lot of people who are living by their wits, who are struggling. So sometimes if you're unfortunate and you come across somebody who's not totally honest, they will see you as an easy mark. And if you can imagine, someone doesn't worry about being late. Someone will take your money, say they're doing it for something, and then just potentially bounce.
mhm.
And maybe they'll pay you eventually, but they will
Right.
delay you, and there's opportunity cost, and there's all the headache and the
Mm,
hassle. So you have to be very careful. I wouldn't advise people to just land and get involved in investments. I'd say if you're going to do that, make sure you're doing it through like an investment company, something very official. But if
yeah.
you're doing something informal, like someone you know who happens to have a business and you're going in on it, be very, very good. So that's a disclaimer.
Exactly. And you talked about not, Ghana, you not having a safety net. Um, it might sound a bit kind of like the glass is half empty, but it just depends what kind of person you are. Because in the West, we have a safety net. We have, the job centers. You can get job seekers allowance if you don't have a job, but also that also keeps you in, like makes you a slave in a way because it pacifies you, makes you a little bit, kind of docile, not to really timid, not to be forceful because you have a safety net. But if you're a person that you are hungry and you see opportunity, then Africa, Ghana is where the money is because people, top businessmen who have done businesses in America and the US will tell you, you get better returns in Africa than you would get in the US, obviously, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, just yes, there's no safety net, but then depending on how you look at it, there's so much opportunities in Ghana for you to if you've been watching some of the Akon interviews that he's been doing, he preaches that hey, Africa is a place where if you have a skill in the West, you can bring it to Africa, and within 5 years, you could be running a Fortune 500 company, right? So the opportunities are there. I just want to throw that into it because it just depends
No,
on how
no.
you look
I
at it.
mean, I'll even go further. There is no safety net, but as a result,
Yeah,
people are very entrepreneurial here.
right,
Like I've noticed, like with COVID, the lockdown, all of a sudden you get people, WhatsApp messages. I'm selling this. I'm selling DME for prices.
right.
Like people are just, and on a small scale, you can start a business with very little paperwork or it's not as well regulated here, I guess, the
Yeah.
business environment. So it's pure. It's a case of I have a service or a good that I'm selling to you for a profit. Now,
Mm,
if I can do it and it's worthwhile, let's go.
mm,
Money exchange and it's on its way. So, you can quickly, like an example, I had a friend whose wife, she's got a job, but she started a side hustle, like making salads, selling salads. And the business model was you pre-order the day before and then it's delivered to you the next day. Doing very well. And it gets to a point where it picks up and she doesn't have to make the salad anymore. Now she can employ someone
mm,
to make the salad and it's still profitable.
right.
So it's just through very little effort,
Yeah,
it helps that the person has great marketing skills.
yeah,
They're making some marketers, so they've been able to pull on that skill set. But you can do anything here. There's very low barrier to entry. If you think you can do it and you're willing to give it a go, nothing stops
yeah, definitely.
you. Big returns when you get it right.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how, well, I guess, that's the big part of living the African dream. I forgot one thing. Like when now you're renting, how do you find somewhere to rent? I mean, is there, do you find it online or how
Okay.
did you go about finding somewhere to rent?
With renting, I went initially because a lot of things in Ghana are, you can ask people. There's a
Right.
referral culture. So initially, I asked quite a few people, and they were giving me a few hints here and there. But I found it was going slower than I'd like. So my wife and I, we just went online, started Googling. We found this site, it was called Tonaton, I think, which
Mm.
had quite a good listing. It's almost like, I'd compare it to Gumtree
Yeah.
or Craigslist. And there
Tonaton
was a
if you're
lot of,
English, Tonaton if you are tree. If you are if you are local.
you mean buy and sell, right?
Yeah, but yeah, Tonaton. But if you're
Tonaton.
English, but so
So
fine.
it's a marketplace,
Yeah,
and you can
exactly.
buy, you can sell almost anything there. So a lot of estate agents have registered there, and they'll have properties listed there. So what we started doing, we started looking at the properties that we like to look at. We would call them or WhatsApp them. A lot of people like WhatsApp in Ghana, so it's a very big means of communication. So you WhatsApp them, they'd send you some images, and then maybe you'd arrange a meet. So we go and meet them and they take you. So one thing here I found, which is a bit strange, is a lot of the estate agents, because they will pick you up and they'll drive you around lots of different places, in order not to lose out for the day, they'll ask you to pay a bit. So you show up in the morning, meet the
This
agent,
is
the
what
agent.
50 cities, right?
Yeah, about 50 cities.
Yeah.
So a bit less than £10 or call
Yeah.
it, yeah, you pay that. And then they would, drive you around to the different properties, etc., etc. I think it's because if they don't do that, they could be driving people around all day for weeks, and not because, yeah, a lot of these people are the people running the business. They're the business owners. You
Yeah.
know, they're not getting paid to do this by someone. A lot of them, they are the business, the estate agents. So they
Yeah.
kind of do the freight costs, which I
Yeah.
thought was good, but I understand why they do it. And to be honest, the
Yeah.
first time I told them, they didn't mention it before I met them, so I'm not going to pay it. And I
Mm,
didn't.
mm,
And we went anyway. So,
mm,
but
mm.
yeah, so they take you to view places. Um, I had a list of criteria that the place needed to have. In terms of security, I wanted electric fence, I wanted the CCTV, I wanted 2 or 3 bedrooms. I had a price range I was looking at, all kinds of things. So
Right.
you view like you would anywhere. Once you've found, and you can also, there's another site called Mikasa. but it's
Yeah.
spelled MEQASA,
Right.
where you can go there and there's listed properties there as well,
Mm.
luxury apartments, all stuff. In fact, I have a friend who's coming to the UK. I mean, sorry, coming to Ghana from the UK. They've never been to Ghana before, but they recently sent me something to check for them, and they found a luxury apartment. Oh, I won't say luxury. Yeah, luxury apartment block, and they're organizing a 3-month lease, and they wanted to let me know. They wanted me to check and see if the price was reasonable, if the area was decent, and the facilities, and it was really good. So they found out through the website, called up, and they negotiated. So they're going to have that in place before they land. They're actually landing on Friday, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
going to place. So I think that was an alternative to find a hotel first and then manually going to view places. They decided to find a place and go for it.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. But and the other thing is when you are looking for somewhere to rent, the agent uh, compared to the UK, actually in the UK when the agent is helping you find, they don't charge you anything.
They don't charge you.
But in Ghana they will charge you.
Ghana, they do.
So
In Ghana,
you have to be ready for
the
that. But
agent will
however,
have a fee.
sorry.
The agent will have a fee. Like if you're renting,
Yeah.
the agent fee would be, I think, well, initially they said 10%. I ended up paying like 7% because I negotiated.
Yeah.
But yeah, the agent will pay. Well, you'll pay the agent 10%.
Mm.
In the UK, you will. The cost will be by the person listing the property.
Yeah.
It's not the same way, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah. But yeah, you can, as you said, negotiate because obviously the agent is also getting money from the seller. So with that in mind, feel free to negotiate like Nana did, and not to pay, obviously just haggle, as they said,
Yeah.
get the best price. Anything on renting that you add?
Yeah. So, and renting here, they want you to pay upfront. So that's something to know. Whereas in the UK, you might pay a deposit, a safety deposit, and maybe the initial month in advance, and then that's
Right.
it.
Mm.
But here, they will ask for 6 months. And actually, normally, if you're renting like a property here, they'll ask for 1 or 2 years in advance.
Mm.
So it sounds weird. They're expecting you to pay 1 year's rent or 2 years' rent upfront.
Mm.
Now, that seems crazy, but I realize it's here because credit control, debt, etc., is not as well developed here. So for the landlord, is a bigger risk. So what they want to do is they just want you to pay up front,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. And then you're not going to run away. And then when it comes to, you can renew. So what I did was when I rented this place, I paid a year up front. They wanted 2 actually, but no, I wasn't willing to commit that long. So I paid a year up front, and I've just renewed again recently for another year. So the upside of paying up front is you don't have to worry about rental increases. Whatever that price is, you pay for that 1 year, 2 years, and that's it.
Right.
But the downside is obviously you're paying a lot of money up front. But then saying that, for me, the rent I'm paying was like 4 months, 5 months worth of rent in the UK.
Mm.
Yeah, so I was like, I get it, but once I paid it, I can forget about it. I don't need to worry about it.
Exactly.
So that's another way to look at it. Once you paid it, you're not going to worry about being homeless for that period of time. You've got your
it's true. You covered, you covered for a certain period. So yeah, it's good. It's pros and cons to everything, as you said. Yeah. Right. And what about maybe there might be enough, people concerned of. Actually, it's not even an issue, but what do you think about racism now? Because now obviously you have like the Black Lives Matter and a lot of stuff happening around the world. What do you think Africa has to offer for people who are experiencing a lot of racism in the West?
So one of the big positives that for me personally I have living in Ghana is I don't have to think about racism on a regular basis.
Unless you got
Now,
shoes.
even then,
Right.
no, but the fact is, and some people might not understand this, but if you're a person of color in the UK or America, in the West in general, when you're a minority, you can't help but have a racial aspect to most of your interactions. Like if you're at a restaurant and the person is, doesn't want to serve you or acts a certain way towards you, they may just be mean people, or they may just not like the look of you, whatever it is. But you'd be naive not to consider a racial aspect to it. When I'm in the UK, it's been better about trying to stop a black cab. It's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. I've had occasions where I remember I was an IT consultant and I'd worked on a server installation and it was late. I got to Brixton, I think it was around 10:30 in the evening. Bear in mind, I'm wearing a suit, tie, fully suited and booted. I could not get a black cab to save my life. I must have approached about 3 different cabs because I didn't want to wait for the night bus. And I was just like tired. I just wanted to catch a cab home. Couldn't. Now, maybe I just happened to be unfortunate at the time and everyone was just signing off to go home at that time, even though they were parked outside. They just finished up their last job and were going home apparently. But, stuff like that. Here in Ghana, I'm not a minority anymore. I don't have to think like that. Race doesn't come into my day-to-day interactions.
Right.
And it's like someone taking a weight off your shoulders. I didn't realize how much of an impact or how much of my mind was consumed by that, because you get used to it. It's just there, and you adapt. You find you have certain behaviors that you adopt in certain situations.
To deal with
it. If I'm in certain scenarios, I may not act the way I would naturally want to, just because I'm aware if I do, there's consequences. Some people may see me as more aggressive just because I'm a black man behaving in a certain way in this. There's all those microaggressions, little things that you learn to adapt to. But here, it's gone. If anything, if I'm trying to blend in, maybe, especially if I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, not talking to anyone, nobody knows that maybe I lived abroad. Well, some people can probably tell, but that's another story. But, just me, for the first time in a long time, I'm just Nanea. That's it. If someone likes me or dislikes me, it's probably based on my behavior and my interaction with them. As opposed to someone I've never met immediately taking a disliking to me for whatever personal prejudice they have. And it's a breath of fresh air. I recommend it. I really do. It's just, with the Black Lives Matters movement, especially, I don't know, I went to school in America. I didn't live there that long. I was there for 4 years. But interactions with the police are not a life and death issue yet. Most part. You are not worried about whether this is going to be the end of your life when you're dealing with the.
Right.
Now, the police aren't perfect and they have their own annoyances.
Yeah, it's not like matter of life or death.
Yeah, it's an annoyance. It's not like, could it be my last day type thing. In the UK, in London, I have to admit, I never really felt like interactions with the police were life or death situations, but I've been pulled over many times and given some flimsy excuse as to why I've been pulled over after the fact. I expect it. It's there. I don't even get mad. I'm more sarcastic with it when I'm talking to them because you're like, oh, here we go again. But I never felt like I might get shot. So I'm just grateful for that.
Mm.
But I don't have to worry about that here.
Yeah.
No, I really don't. And it's just, it's a nice feeling. I can't quite explain it. Can't quite explain it, but I think if you're here for a period of time and you're a person of color,
Mm.
you will realize that reduction in your stress levels.
Yeah. Talking about stress, you are due for a trip to the UK.
I am. I'm
I
due
know.
back
Yeah. You are coming to
in a
join
couple
us.
of weeks. Yes, I'm coming to join you. I'm back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting my friends and family. You know, it's good to catch up on that.
Yeah, because it's been a year, right? Almost a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah.
There is that part of me that is like, I'm gonna have to give up some of the freedoms that I've got used to.
Give up your maid.
Yes. It sounds terrible, but yes, we're gonna have to do our own chores, and some of the conveniences that I have here are no longer be there. It's not a big deal, I guess, you know, as long as it's short term. The weather, another thing, is going to be colder than it is here. Probably won't be as much sunshine. But I know, I like to be optimistic. I like, well, you know, certain things that maybe I had there that quite, because, you know, I've had Cumberland sausages here, but maybe they weren't quite as nice as the ones that I'm used to. So I tell myself, you know, on the plus side, you know, you
can have
can
fish and chips.
yeah, you know, you can indulge. Although I did have fish and chips here that was really good, but you know, the chips and batter was mwah, but it was fries, the American skinny fries.
All right.
So that was disappointing.
Right.
So if you take that fish, that fresh fish and that seasoned batter and get my favorite chips from my local
crack chips.
But you know, so I like to be optimistic. There's a lot of positives that will be coming from my trip, you know, and fortunately, I'm not coming back to a job as such. So I still have my flexibility. Obviously, I still have my business to run, but you know, it's not like I have to wake up and get on the train during rush hour and all of that. So, yeah. So I think I'll be all right.
Right. You are definitely living the African dream because it's not many people, because I think what you have achieved is very inspirational, but I think sometimes you downplay it because I guess.
I'm like, yes, I can see it. And from my perspective, I've just kind of doggedly looked at the life I want to live and then just step by step, slowly get into it. I mean, I don't feel like I'm living the dream quite yet, but I feel like I'm getting there.
Right.
And I'm making good progress. So, and generally speaking, yeah, I'm happy. So I can't complain.
Right. Well, that's the goal of this channel, right? Is to help anybody achieve or live the African dream, which is helping you make a decision, shine a bit more light on any of the topics that we discussed here. What we do, we're going to leave some information in the description. So if you have any questions, you can obviously send us an email or leave a comment and all that kind of stuff, right? And then we will do our best to answer your questions. But yeah, Nana, anything else that you want to cover? Any questions that I didn't ask that you feel that it would be good for people?
The last thing I would say was, obviously everybody has a different idea of a dream. Some people's dream is to be fabulously wealthy and, you know, first class travel, have your own private jet, etc. Even if that is your dream, I still believe you have a better chance of achieving that in Ghana, in Africa, than you might have in the UK. Because just even from a competitive point of view, things, you know, they call it developed nations for a reason, right? Business niches and opportunities have been well exploited to a certain extent. Whereas here, there's so much blue ocean, you know, new areas to be exploited, new business models to use. So once you come here and you're dedicated and you're disciplined, I feel your chances of progressing are much higher here. So whatever it is your dream is, I really do believe you can live your best life here. So when I think of the African dream, it's like whatever your dream is, by moving here or being based here, you increase your chances of achieving it. That's my personal things. So that's what I wanted to add.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I hope people are going to find some obviously value in it. If we can just help one person, that's enough, right? Because
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's our goal, right? Just to help one person feel equipped to be able to make a decision about it and share our experiences. And also, we're gonna bring in some guests that we know personally that we're going to be on our channel. You know, hopefully you'll find some inspiration, some useful information you can apply to help you on your journey to living your African dream. So yeah.
Another thing I'd like to add, just to help with the whole helping other people, please share this too. If you know anybody who you think can benefit from this, share the video, like, subscribe. I guess the idea is the larger the community we're able to build, the more helpful we can be, and the easier it will be for us to help people achieve their African dreams. So yeah, anything you can do to help someone else. We're making this video because people ask me some of these questions, people have asked me before, friends, family. So if we can get this information out to people that might not know how to get the answers, then hey, you know, we're helping. And that's the main thing. You know, I want everyone to do well. And I think even the fact that people are moving to Ghana, Africa as a continent, Ghana as a country will develop, will get better, and then maybe even more. It'll be maybe a positive feedback. More people come down, the place develops, and then it's an even better environment for everyone. So, you know, that's the hope.
Yeah, what you said reminded me of what Akon said in one of his interviews, saying I keep having to quote in Akon a lot, but he said that if the African Americans or the Caribbeans in the West, if most of them was to move to Africa and do what they do here over there, you know, Africa would be untouchable, right? And hearing things like that, and obviously being Ghanaian myself, being an African myself, having the opportunity to compare both cultures and lived and experience it, I feel in my being that is absolutely accurate. So, and that's why we are so passionate in, you know, bringing you this information. So hopefully it helps you. So yeah,
I have no regret on the decisions.
Right.
I've made.
Awesome. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be making some more content. I'm sure we're going to see you in the next one, where we can help you also live your African dream. So please like, share, comment, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Take care. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Take care.
And thank you.
Hey, pleasure, bro. I guess you are doing. I'm going to be telling my story next time, so you guys will get a chance to see that.
The tables will be turned, and I will interview you. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, cool. Okay, then. See you later, guys. Take care.
Take care. Bye.